welcome back everybody. I am your designated inquirer. My name is Axel and today is 10/13 of 2020. Now recently you may have seen this video of people going nuts over this opening of Logan Paul. Logan Paul basically going through and opening up a box, a sealed box of Pokemon cards. This box is not any just regular old box of Pokemon cards. It wasn't just a regular booster box of modern cards. This was essentially one of the first boxes ever made. The box in question was a Shadowless first edition base set box. What does that mean? Well, there are quite a few type of cards available on the market, or that have existed in the world of Pokemon. One of the cards that exists, or one type of card, if you go to tcgplayer.com, go to TCG Player, you go to Pokemon over here, you can go to a price guide. From this price guide, there's you can search through here and go and find basically base set. There's 3 of them here. Okay, base set is the first set. Okay, whenever you're talking about Pokemon cards, base set is your first set. All right, so there was 3 of them. One which is what's noted as the unlimited set, one is the second set, and one is the first set. Okay, the first set that was ever printed. These both unlimited and the Shadowless both came in first edition types. Your Shadowless set right here will basically have cards that did not have a black border or a shadow around the right and bottom side of the card. It would basically look like the left and the top side, where if you have a base set, a regular base set card of the same card right here, you'll see that there is a shadow along the right and the bottom side of the card. Okay, that's generally your first indication that you're dealing with a Shadowless or a unlimited version of a card, and whether or not they are first edition or not. First edition cards are going to be worth more than their unlimited counterparts, and a Shadowless version will be worth more than its shadowed brother or sister, however you'd like to see it. So this guy right here went and opened a booster box. This one right here, that was a first edition Shadowless box. Okay, so each one basically contained packs, as seen here, that had cards that were first edition and Shadowless. Let's take a look here, right, like this right here. See, there's no shadow along the right and or the bottom side of the card, and it has that first edition stamp. Now, sometimes these stamps can come in a shade of black. Whether or not it's gray or black is subjective, and can be graded along whether or not it's up to the collector, whether or not they define it as gray or not. And if it is, it happens to be even more rare than not, because a stamp was a separate process on the card than not. But in any case, the part that's super important right now, that's the 5-alarm, like, oh my god, everybody pay attention now, is that during this particular opening of a Shadowless first edition box, there was an auction going around in the background. That auction was conducted by this particular company called Iconic Auctions. You can go to it, iconicauctions.com, and then on its front page you will see basically this right here, all right, as to what sold. Generally, you can go to current auctions right here also, and you can see what sold alongside this this card. So there was a signed photo, a color photo of the Apollo 11 crew. Okay, that sold for 7,000. Okay, you have a Cristiano Ronaldo Prism Gold that sold for 1,200. You have the 2002 Anaheim Angels on bats, the entire team, Beckett verified, and with all of those signatures, all of those bats came out to $1,700. You have an insurance cover for Apollo 17 sell for 1,000. Something for the Beatles, a Beatles Ultra group sign, a poster that went for 6,384. You have a George Harrison going for 1,900. A Paul McCartney signed bass guitar for 11,000. Alongside, you also did have a Blastoise first edition Shadowless. Blastoise go for sale along with a Venusaur. There was a Venusaur that also went up for sale as well. But apart from these, there were also some modern cards that went for sale as well, along with this shiny secret rare Charizard that's in the set Hidden Fates, a one from the Legendary Collection, which was the reverse rare of the form, which was only a PSA 8. That one went for 1,200. And a few other cards also went along with it. But overwhelmingly, three of the highest priced were the three starters for first edition Shadowless base set. Both Venusaur came out to basically pretty close to 30,000. Blastoise went for 38, and Charizard, okay, which is he's the original bad boy of the Pokemon world, etc. For a lot of different reasons, he's the favorite. Whether he's my favorite or not, that, you know, that's not here nor there. But he is the favorite of the hobby, and I have to respect that, and the hobby respects that, and it garnered the most money, and it paid. The hobby paid. Somebody paid $200. No, the bid was at $184,000. There's a 20% fee that goes on top of that has to be paid for you to get the card, and it made the final price paid to get this card at $220,574.40. That is an astronomical number, because an auction that happened before this one had this card sell for $75,000. Okay, now why is that important? Because within a couple months time, there were two of the same card in the same condition, because they were both PSA 10s, basically a perfect card, as close as you could get to a perfect card, sell one after another. So you can see whether or not there was a constant and or increasing demand for the same card. Okay, now the card jumped from $75,000 to $220,000 for one card. Okay, obviously that is worth its weight in gold, but also what we can do is calculate what percentage increase that is, because to get to 75,000 divided by, nope, clear, you have to go to 220,000 divided by 75, and we get, all right, so 75 is 40. All right, so let's do that opposite. 75. Did I do that right? Clear, 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 clear. 220 divided by 75. That's what I wanted to do. There it is. Okay. That's almost 3 times. Okay, that's almost 3 times the amount that was originally paid for in sometime, I think it was September and or possibly August. I don't exactly remember when it was, but the point is it tripled within a 3-month time. Okay, there are very few stocks that triple within a 3-month period, yet alone a 10-year period. And yet we're reaching levels in this hobby where there's a card worth 220,000. For baseball, likewise, there are plenty of cards worth well over $1 million that are pretty close to near impossible to find. Granted, the people that love baseball, those particular players and those cards happen to have a lot more money to spend on memorabilia and their hobby, etc., whatnot, to be able to drop that kind of cash. The generation that is following Pokemon right now happens to be my generation, which is that of the millennials. And also, whether or not you want which one you want to fall into or whatnot, it doesn't really matter. There's an age group that is generally following Pokemon. Okay, and it's going to continue to follow it basically till we no longer exist on this earth, and even our kids are probably going to, you know, be into it, etc., because there is a fair amount of indoctrination that probably happens of our generation to the next generation that we have into these characters. So they're more than likely going to know about this, and they will probably continue the tradition of collecting, of playing this game, these games, etc., or whatnot. It's probably going to continue for a long time, so it's probably going to be here to stay. That being said, the amount of cards available is only going to dwindle. So is this the highest price that we're ever going to see? Probably not. Are the other cards in this set going to increase in price? Yes. Will they increase at the same rate as this card? Maybe, maybe not. But there is a lot of catching up that the rest of the market has to do. And the other couple of details that happen that work around this start to get a little conspiracy theory, start to get a little weird, but there is, next year happens to be the 25th anniversary of Pokemon. So if you go to Pokemon.com here, you start to see a little bit about what is kind of coming up, which probably includes 25th anniversary of Pokemon, and whether or not news, nothing here, not yet, but they're already announcing, we know that they're announcing already the sets that are going to be coming out and what they plan to do about the 25th anniversary of this game and of the franchise. Okay, they're more than likely going to be bringing out special sets. They're going to be bringing out probably a movie. There's a lot of things that are going on that are all going to happen all at the same time, and we will probably see an increase in demand for memorabilia, the cards, the games, the backpacks, the toy lunch boxes, everything regarding Pokemon next year. Now, what's also going on behind this? All right, so we've got this two factors right now that are adding to the increase in prices for Pokemon related stuff. Okay, whether or not you play the trading card game online or physically, etc., or whatnot. Apart from all of that, you have coming back to this gentleman right here. He, as of earlier this year and or late last year, he had a consultation meeting with Gary Vee. And apart from this gentleman right here, the person who happened to buy both the card for $75,000 and the card for $220,000 happen to be the same company, but the company bought it for a particular person. That particular person has been disclosed to be Logic the rapper. Logic buys Pokemon card. So he went and bought the first edition holo card for $220,000, the same one that we saw go for on that auction that we were just seeing. That is now the owner of that card. So there are probably going to be more people of his stature and or greater that are going to be buying these kinds of cards, and they grew up with, probably deciding to, depending on when they came into the hobby, they probably grew up with different sets. So they're going to go ahead and they're going to start buying up probably the set that they're most familiar with, and also the very first set. So that's another reason why different sets, older sets, are probably going to be going up faster than the modern set, but also it's going to be bringing a lot of attention to the modern sets. That's why there's a lot of hype and a lot of demand for the current cards available. And so apart from Logan Paul going to go see Gary Vee, we know that Logic at one point went to go see Gary Vee, and I'm almost positive that they were all more or less kind of talking with each other. Now, apart from, I don't know if I don't know if I could call it market manipulation, but they're getting their ducks in a row, and they're basically I don't know if they're agreeing or they're coming to the same conclusion independently. Whether this is going to happen now, whether this would happen 5 years from now, whether or not this wouldn't happen nowhere near as quickly, it would still probably happen. The fact that it's happening now, etc., whatnot, is, good for them. But what that does mean is that we now have an opportunity to be able to get some of these cards as they're still available before they're being bought by very high net worth individuals, and basically make them unattainable for the rest of us, right? Whether or not you agree with that, whether or not you care, is beside the point. This is gonna happen, right? So just know that there's probably going to be a fair amount of new entrants, public entrants, to investing and or collecting Pokemon cards, along with possibly, depending on whether or not they liked it, Yu-Gi-Oh!, whether or not they liked it Beyblade, whether or not they liked it Digimon, whether or not they liked it, like, there's going to be now a re-observation of the nostalgia that was from the 90s. Whether or not that applies to Beanie Babies, we have not yet seen that happen yet. We haven't seen that happen yet, and if anything, they're probably undervalued assets at this moment. But right now, there is an evaluation of value, like there's a point of appraisal. We're hitting a point of appraisal for the hobby of Pokemon, trading card game collecting, etc., and or other stuff. Whether or not you're collecting the toys, whether or not you're collecting the cards, it doesn't matter. They're being appraised right now, and they're being bought and they're being sold appropriately, because the price that you pay is the price that you pay. It is definitively what the market is saying these cards are worth, right? If they weren't worth that, they wouldn't pay for them. They wouldn't pay the prices that they're paying for them. Another thing that I want you guys to be careful about is do not, for any reason, buy fake cards. And when I say fake, I mean proxy. Proxy means fake. Don't do it. Don't buy a fake card. I know you guys want to have as decoration, etc., whatnot. This card in your house or whatnot. But there are different kinds of cards, even of this card, that you can get if you want, but you can be patient about it. Okay, even this base set card, you can be found on TCG Player for a fair amount. Okay, damaged holofoil, a basically a beat up version of the same card or a similar card, which whether or not it's first edition or not, first edition holofoil, there are none available. Okay, regular edition, not first edition, the cheapest one that is available, only one that is here is for $170. Okay, that's a lot. $170. Okay, that's quite a lot. If you want to get something that's near mint, and that's not even of. So the first one that you get to is $750. A light plate, you're at $300. A moderately played, which you're gonna have, you know, we can go through what these definitions are in terms of a condition, as about $185. Okay, so these cards are still available. Okay, the first editions are not. Okay, and that's considering that we're talking about the just the base set. Okay, we're not even talking about the Shadowless version. Let's go to the Shadowless version and let's see if something is available. For the Shadowless, we are seeing here basically only 4 cards available, $695. Okay, are there any first editions available? No, there are no first edition Shadowless cards available on TCG Player. But are they available through eBay? Well, let's take a look. Shadowless Charizard. Well, let's take a look here. This can't possibly be random pack, custom back, 2 random cards. Nope. That's not it. Here's a Shadowless card that's on auction. Here's a first edition. This is a proxy. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Exclude anything proxy. Do not bid on anything that says proxy, etc. Okay, there are things that you can start to pay attention to in terms of what these cards look like, where you can tell whether or not they're real. Okay, some of these cards are pretty good fakes, but a lot of the time there are certain details that you can look at that make them not real. First of all, the text looks a little fuzzy. It's not as crisp as the actual card. You try and look at what the actual card would look like. A lot of times the color will be a little bit off. Sometimes there will be certain fonts that will be a little bit different. Certain times there's a lot of stuff that can happen with these cards where they're just not it. They're not the thing. That you can tell that is not real. If you've touched enough of these cards, you'll be able to tell and get a feel for like what the paint is supposed to look like, how it's supposed to reflect off of light, where are the imperfections, where are they supposed to be, where they're not supposed to be. If something starts to look a little funny, you know, like there are ways to find out whether or not a card is real, but an obvious way to learn whether or not something is real was whether or not it says it's a proxy. A proxy means that it's not real, period. do not bid or buy a proxy card. Okay, it is not a real card. You're basically paying for an imitation. It is a fake. It is a fake. And it is draining money from the hobby in and of itself, because there is an actual card that is official that looks very similar to these cards, that is a Charizard, but that was reprinted in a different set. So it is an official card. You're helping the hobby, and you're getting something that's real, okay? That is sanctioned by Pokemon, and that is from Evolutions. You go to Evolutions, Charizard. All right, this card right here is basically the same one, okay? There's even a reverse holo form of it. There's a Charizard in I'm starting to forget the name of it. It's not Champions. There's a few different Charizards that are available. All right, so if we look here, Charizard. Just like that on TCG Player, okay? We can start to look at all the different ones that there are. So we're going to go from high to low, okay? And we're going to start to see all the ones that are available. Whether or not it is the original Shadowless, whether or not it's the different versions of Charizard that have existed over time. There is the one for Evolutions, there's the one for the regular base set, there's the one the pre-release version that's got a stamp, the Legendary Collection. The Legendary Collection one is one that is more similar still to the original card, okay? If you look at over here, along the bottom here, the way the energy is depicted for retreat cost, weakness, and resistance is the same format as the original card. The only difference on this card and the original card is this little stamp right here, which stands for Legendary Collection. Okay, that's the only difference, and this one is available for $93, a heavily played version. Whether or not you want a heavily played or not, you can get a near mint version for $900, which near mint is a very nice card. It is as close to perfect as you can get. There's some minor defects on it or whatnot. From far away, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. It'll probably be anywhere from a 7 all the way to a 9 can be near mint. Well, yeah, near mint. Okay. Lightly played is anything from basically under a 7, so from a 6 all the way to pretty much a 4 or a 3. Moderate played is probably from 3 to 2, and then heavily played is probably 1. And then whether or not you get it damaged or not is, irrelevant, because it can basically vary in price. But there are ways for you to get an actual card sanctioned by Pokemon that if you do get one, it does help the hobby. And keep in mind that any money that you spend on a hobby for collecting purposes, or whether or not you're doing it for investing, the price that you pay is the price that you have set as what that particular card is valued at. Okay, so long as you decide to hold on to that card and sell it for higher later, it means that it will go up in price. All that's missing between here and then is basically the amount of time it takes for it to accumulate value. Apart from that, so the reason why buying fakes is detrimental to the hobby is because that is money that could have been spent on a real card. Okay, there are new cards that are coming out that are Charizard based. Pre-release It's not the pre-release one, but there is a new one that's going to be coming out in Vivid Voltage. In Vivid Voltage, there's going to be another pre-release card. And if you get the pre-release version, it is going to be it's going to be a really good card to have that will probably increase in value over time, because it doesn't generally happen. It happens few and far in between. This set right here for Evolutions was a set that came out in 2016, and a staff pre-release version of the card is even more rare than just the pre-release version, as you guys can see here. And these cards are more rare than the general release version that happens in the general set. Evolutions Charizard, which is this one right here. So in Evolutions, it can be either it's in holo form, but whether or not it's beat up, it can be as cheap as $25. Lightly played, even lightly played. That's a good card for $25. Lightly played versus near mint at 26. Okay, near mint at 26 is a good card, right? These, I've gotten a few of these, and we'll probably see them go up. Whether or not you get the reverse holo version or the regular version, holo foil, you know, you can get them at $70 or lightly played at 35. So there are ways for you to get the art if you love the art, if it's something that you remember, that you're nostalgic about. But do take your time. And yeah, this is everything that I got for you guys today. But yeah, hold on to your butts, because the hobby is getting serious. The hobby is getting serious. There are going to be more people that are going to be paying up for this card. There's going to be more ways. With more money coming into it, there's going to be more ways to make money also. So keep that in mind. And it more securely makes an investment in Pokemon cards a long-term viable option. As people who know and talk about unregistered assets can tell you about. But that's a different topic for another time. Till then, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and yeah, catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.